Okay, so today we are diving deep into Louis Sachar's holes. And wow, um,
Mm,
you have been busy. Look at all this stuff. Character analyses, chapter summaries.
Lots of notes.
You've got notes galore here. Somebody's been busy.
It's a lot to unpack.
So what is the deal? You teaching this one,
Yeah.
you writing an essay, just reliving your childhood.
Maybe all of the above, you know?
Whatever the reason, I am ready to dig in. Are you?
Oh, absolutely. And I can tell you right now, there's way more to this story than just digging holes in the desert.
Oh, I like where you're going with this.
It really is about interconnectedness, wouldn't you say? How
Yeah.
things connect in these strange ways, like these little insignificant events from the past
Yeah.
that can have these huge ripple effects into the present in these totally unexpected ways.
Oh, I see exactly where you're going with this. We're talking about the whole Yelnats family curse, right?
Exactly.
Because for a story about a kid digging holes in the desert,
Yeah.
this thing is surprisingly deep. You've got fate, destiny, almost like a modern-day fable.
It is. And that's where Sachar really gets you. He takes these kind of fantastical elements. So you've got the curses, you've got hidden treasures, you've even got a little bit of magic in there.
Right.
But he makes it feel so real.
Yeah.
And to really understand the curse's impact on Stanley.
Okay.
We got to go back. We got to go back to the source. We're
Yeah.
talking about his no-good, dirty, rotten, pig-stealing great-great-grandfather, Elia Yelnats.
Elia. I got to admit, going through all this background you provided on Elia,
Yeah.
I almost feel bad for the guy.
Right.
Head over heels for this girl, Myra. And by all accounts, not the sharpest tool in the shed.
We'll just say Myra wasn't exactly known for her intellect, right?
Right. Okay.
Her dad, more interested in money than his daughter's happiness, was ready to marry her off to the highest bidder.
Of course. So Elia, desperate to win Myra's hand, turns to, well, a pretty interesting character, Madame Zeroni.
Yes, Madame Zeroni, quite a character. Even her name sounds mystical.
Right. Even just the name. And then you picture her with the one leg and this whole air of knowing a little something that other people don't. She just screams fate, doesn't she?
She really does. She agrees to help Elia, but like most things in life, it comes at a price.
Okay, there's always a price, right?
Always a price, a promise. She gives him a piglet with very specific instructions. Every day, he has to carry this piglet up a mountain, let it drink from this special stream, and while he's doing that, he has to sing it a very specific song.
Okay, a singing pig. Got it.
This is going to make the pig strong, right? Secure Elia's happiness.
Okay.
But, and this is the clincher, he then has to carry Madame Zeroni up the mountain, let her drink from the stream so she can receive the pig's blessing. He has to complete his end of the bargain, right?
Right.
And if he doesn't, well, let's just say bad luck would be putting it mildly.
Spoiler alert. Elia, shall we say, forgets the promise. He basically hightails it to America, leaves poor Madame Zeroni and his vow in the dust.
Yeah.
What did he think was going to happen?
Yeah, not a good move.
Talk about a recipe for disaster.
It is, and unfortunately a recipe that affects his descendants for generations. Generations. Stanley's constant misfortune, always being in a wrong place at the wrong time, falsely accused.
Yeah.
It's like this echo of that broken promise.
Like that promise is echoing through time. And then, bam,
Yeah.
those sneakers fall from the sky.
Right.
And Stanley shipped off to Camp Green Lake. Camp seems a bit generous from the descriptions.
Yeah.
It's orange jumpsuits,
Yeah.
digging all day under the watchful eye of the warden. Sounds more like, I don't know, a sweltering desert prison with a serious shoveling problem.
That's a good way to put it.
Right.
And it's almost as if the land itself is mirroring what's happening to Stanley. You see, Green Lake wasn't always this barren wasteland. It used to be beautiful, thriving even. But just like Elia's broken promise, transformed a hopeful future into a legacy of, well, misfortune. Something poisoned the heart of Green Lake, turning it into this desolate setting for Camp Green Lake.
Okay.
And to understand that transformation, we need to dig a little deeper into the town's history, into the legend of Catherine Barlow.
All right. Now, this is where things get really good. Beloved school teacher to the infamous Kissin' Kate Barlow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's a story there, and I have a feeling it's a good one.
Oh, it is. It's a good one. It really is. A story of love and loss and, well, the consequences of prejudice, I guess you could say.
Okay.
See, before she was this legendary outlaw with a lipstick and a love for leaving kisses on emptied loot bags, Catherine Barlow was a well-respected school teacher in Green Lake.
Back when Green Lake was actually green.
Right.
It's hard to imagine with like all that dust and just desolation.
Yeah.
What happened? How does a school marm turn into a notorious outlaw?
Well, it all comes back to interconnectedness. Catherine's story, like Stanley's, is shaped by, like, what comes before her, right?
Okay.
And in a way, her choices set the stage for everything that happens with Stanley.
Okay.
It all starts with her romance with Sam the onion seller, described as a kind, hardworking man, a real credit to his race.
Ooh, that's telling.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Really reveals the racism of that time.
Right, because of course Sam was black and Catherine was white.
Exactly.
A romance deemed dangerous, unacceptable by their community.
But their love was a challenge to the way things were, you know, to the norms and prejudices of the time.
Right.
And as we see so often when individuals dare to defy convention, the consequences can be pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Fueled by bigotry, the townspeople, they turn on the couple.
It's like that ripple effect again.
Yes.
One action leading to unintended consequences.
Tragic consequences.
Yeah.
Sam is killed.
Oh.
Catherine, heartbroken and enraged, becomes the gunslinging kissin' Kate Barlow.
Wow.
Robbing stagecoaches becomes her way to strike back at the society that stole her love.
And get this. One of those stagecoaches she targets
Yeah.
just happens to belong to Stanley's great-great-grandfather.
Oh, wow.
Talk about coming full circle.
Talk about full circle, right. And of course, where there's a robbery, there's talk of buried treasure.
Right.
Which brings us to the warden's obsession with all that digging. She's convinced that Kate's loot is still out there somewhere buried at Camp Green Lake.
So she's basically using these kids to find her stolen goods.
Well, I mean, she probably justifies it as character building, you know?
Right. Tough love.
Right, tough love, exactly.
Yeah. But okay, so we've got these parallel stories playing out.
We do.
Broken promises, lost love, a generations-old curse.
All against this backdrop of this bleak desert camp.
Right. But it's not just about the adults, is it? What really struck me was how those boys at Camp Green Lake, despite the brutal conditions, they find ways to connect.
Right. Even in the most oppressive environments, humanity finds a way.
They're digging holes all day in the heat, surviving on what sounds like lukewarm mush.
Yeah.
And yet they form these bonds, especially Stanley and Zero. There's something really special about their friendship.
It's a powerful testament to resilience, wouldn't you say? You have Stanley, this outsider, constantly blamed, ridiculed. He finds solace and acceptance in Zero, a boy who's also underestimated and marginalized, even by some of the other campers.
They really do team up. They look out for each other. Zero even digs part of Stanley's hole every day. I mean, if that's not true friendship, I don't know what is.
It's the real deal.
But it's more than that, right?
Yeah.
Their connection, it runs deeper than either of them realize.
Much deeper.
Okay.
I'm intrigued.
Because we have to address the elephant in the room here.
Okay.
Zero's true identity.
Because he's not just Stanley's friend, is he?
He's not just Stanley's friend. He's Hector Zeroni, the descendant of Madame Zeroni herself.
Whoa, okay, hold on a minute. So not only are their lives intertwined at Camp Green Lake, but their destinies were connected long before they ever met.
Fate has a funny way of intervening, doesn't it?
It's like all these strings being pulled together.
And those strings get even tighter when you think about their escape.
Oh, yeah. Remember how they find refuge on that mountain where the water runs uphill?
Yeah, with the weird onions that smell like peaches.
Those are no ordinary onions.
Right, because Madame Zeroni's song mentions a mountain and a stream, and you're going to tell me that's not a coincidence?
Not a coincidence at all.
Okay, I knew it.
That mountain is Sam's old onion field.
No way.
The very place where Catherine Barlow's heart was broken. It's where love blossomed and where tragedy struck.
Oh, wow.
And those onions, they're infused with the essence of Catherine's spiced peaches.
Get out.
It's like the land itself remembers their love and the injustice.
Okay, my mind is officially blown.
But wait, there's more?
There's more.
What about that lullaby Stanley's mother sang to him?
The one she can never remember all the words to. Yeah, what about it?
It's the same lullaby Zero's mother used to sing.
You're kidding.
The same melody passed down connecting these two families all along.
That's eerie.
Even their mothers, separated by time and circumstance, are linked.
Wow. So it's all connected, every little detail, every character. But what does it all mean? What's the significance of this lullaby?
That's a great question. One we'll explore as we get into the themes of justice and redemption in wholes.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? This lullaby, like this echo from the past, it's almost like fate itself is stepping in to right some wrongs.
It's a nice thought. But before we get too caught up in the symbolism, let's not forget Stanley and Zero are still on the run here.
Oh, right. They're out in the desert, suitcase in hand, with the warden and those lizards on their trail.
And those lizards, let me tell you, they are nasty pieces of work with a taste for anything that hasn't been snacking on onions, ironically enough.
Wait a minute, so you're saying their bad luck diet of onions is what actually saves them? That's
It's
hilarious.
classic Sachar, right? Finding humor in the most unexpected places.
So what happens next?
Just when it seems like all hope is lost, who shows up but Stanley's lawyer, Miss Marengo, with the Attorney General in tow?
Talk about reinforcements.
Right. Turns out she's been busy gathering evidence, proving Stanley was innocent all along. So much for the warden's whole tough love routine.
The jig is up. It's interesting, though, how quickly the warden and Mr. Pendanski dismissed Zero.
Right, like no one would even notice he was gone.
But Miss Marengo, she sees him, acknowledges him.
It's a small thing, but it speaks volumes. Everyone, no matter who they are, deserves that basic human decency.
It's like we were talking about before, how one action can have these huge ripple effects. Elia's broken promise leading to all this misfortune for Stanley.
Right, but here we see the flip side of that. One act of kindness, of really seeing someone, can have just as big of an impact.
And then, boom, the curse breaks. Rain falls on Camp Green Lake for the first time in over a century. Talk about a cleansing metaphor.
It's like the land itself is healing.
Washing away all that pain and injustice of the past. So what happens to Stanley and Zero? They're rich, right?
Oh, yeah. That suitcase was packed with deeds, stocks, jewels, enough to set them both up for life.
What do they do with it all?
Stanley, being Stanley, uses his newfound wealth to help others. Buys a house for his family, hires the best lawyers to clear his dad's name. Zero hires a private investigator to find his mom. They both get their happy ending.
Wow. It's like everything we've been talking about, the interconnectedness, the broken promises, the power of friendship, it all leads to this. Redemption.
Full circle. And it all comes back to that lullaby, doesn't it? It reminds us that even when things seem their bleakest, even the smallest glimmer of hope can make all the difference.
It really makes you wonder what other hidden connections, what other echoes of the past might be shaping our lives right now. This has been quite the deep dive. We've uncovered so much.
It's amazing what you can find when you dig a little deeper, isn't it?
That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thanks for listening.